This is Emily with Destiny City Film Festival, and we are here with Kiana Harris with the Ajeijo Part 4 Immortal short film that we have in our lineup this year. Hi, Kiana, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Can you just give us the background on, I know you were the filmmaker for the film, but did you have specific roles with the project?
Yeah, I directed Ajeijo, all 4 installments of the series. And I also edited the film. I was also an editor, so.
Wow.
Part of the storytelling.
Yeah, from beginning to end, every piece is part of that story for sure. And now you know that better than I do. Well, thank you so much for joining us to talk about your film. You live in Seattle, correct?
Yes, I live in Seattle.
Okay, great. Just up the road from Tacoma. And so we always love the opportunity to share work from local filmmakers. And, we'd love to be able to be in person with an audience and have a good discussion. But we're grateful to have this opportunity. So I appreciate you taking some time to meet with me. And I wanted to kind of take a step back a little bit because this film is the finale in the 4-part series. And folks might not know that just from seeing the one film. So would you mind just kind of describing the series and overall and how you came to create that?
Sure, yeah. So the series, as you stated, is a 4-part installment series, specifically a dance film series. And so the film is about different characteristics of Yoruba faith. And Yoruba faith was or is a region and spiritual faith out of West Africa. And so my hope was to represent different gods, if you will, or orishas is what they call them, which is why it's installments. So the first one was representation of a god is who they call Yemaya. This person represents water, represents the ocean. And so installment 2 is Olokun, Orisha, and that person is sometimes half the year they're male and sometimes half the year, other times they're female. And they represent the deep sea, which is the unknown, the unseen. And then installment 3, which is Oya, and this person represents 9 Orishas, 9 children, if you will. And so that's why you see 9 people in installment 3. And then in installment 4, this Orisha is named Olodumare. And this Orisha represents the world.
That's the connection with the earth and the elements. Again, I've only seen the 4th installment and I definitely want to see the rest, but that was, very vivid, that the use of connection with the earth and the elements. So it makes sense to me to hear it was a common, that was part of the whole arc of the whole entire series. So back before you made any of these, did you plan it as a 4-part series? Did you kind of have that already in your head and that arc of the story?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, I knew it was going to be installments. I wasn't sure actually how many. I wasn't sure at the time if I was going to do 1 installment and involve 2 of the Orisha gods or 3. But I mean, it all really started, the storytelling starts in the editing process is when I just can kind of just sit, see all the footage, see what I have, and then drive that story as I go. That's kind of how I edit. Yeah.
That makes sense. So did you film all of these separately? All 4 of them?
No, I filmed them all at the same time. So
okay.
There were 5 shoots that I did. And we did it all at the same time.
Wow. Okay. So then now splitting it up and figuring out the editing into the 4 installments. Wow. That would be an undertaking, I feel. But wow, that's interesting. So how long were you filming? I'm curious where you filmed too. It was gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah. One of the places was the famous Seward Park in Seattle. That's a pretty popular place. And also Golden Gardens was also a place that's in the North End. And then the Arboretum, also near UW, was a place. And it was really important to me just to incorporate nature, because that was also just part of what I would say like the healing process with the cast. Because I really wanted to set up the shoot as a place where folks can just kind of access these emotions and feelings of whatever they have with sorry, I'm trying to find this word, but the dynamics of gender. And a lot of folks, there's a lot of turmoil with that. And so I wanted them to access that. And nature was also is connected to that in the Yoruba faith.
Okay. Yeah. Where did you find all these wonderful people to be part of the project?
Well, some of them are my friends. And also, I reached out to folks in different groups on Facebook. It's funny you asked that. One person asked a question as to like, where did you find all the Black people? Because like that's that's like a joke in Seattle. It's like, where are all the Black folks at? And so yeah, a lot of it was through Facebook, friend of friends. I mean, yeah, I was really blessed. It was a crew of like in cast of 17. I've never done that. And so it was just nice that everybody believed in my vision to move forward.
Well, I mean, I was reading your bio, you have, extensive background in dance. And then I read that you kind of made the move to filmmaking. So obviously you had that background, as a dancer, and then combining that with what that would look like on film. Did you make films before these? Or was this your first?
I made 2 films. So I took a dance intensive. It was like a dance film intensive, like 3 weeks. And at the end of the project, you had this film. And so I created that. And then I created like a part 2 of that film because I had so much footage of it. But prior to that, I don't have any experience with film or editing. It was just something that I was interested in. At first, I took the intensive because I wanted professional footage, like of me dancing. That's really, but then it just kind of turned into this like thing that like I had no expectations for all of this. I mean, all of this is really new to me. I'm just so grateful and thankful that people, enjoy my work, that I'm able to do things like this.
Did you do all the choreography, or how did that all develop for the films?
Yeah, so some of it, I mean, all of it is pretty much improv. Improvisation, meaning they all came up with it on their own. With the 9 dancers, some of them aren't like professional dancers. So I would give just like suggestions. But a lot of it is what they access during that time, during that shoot, around the nature. And so they were able to come up with the work on their own. But yeah, most of it is, that's part of the storytelling too, right? Like they're also telling their stories. So they're helping me tell their stories and I'm telling mine. And so that's part of the storytelling. And so choreography was like, to me, it's, it's cool, but it's not authentic in a way where they can tell their stories to me and me tell it back by editing and seeing the films.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it just goes to show how special all of that was that you captured with those, in the moment expressions, and then you being able to, like you said, tell your story through their story, and all together. Wow, that's incredible. How was it for you, moving from your dance experience into filmmaking? Do you feel like that experience set you up in a certain way to succeed in filmmaking?
I mean, all of my films are dance films. And so dance is a huge part of my life. I've been dancing since I was 6 years old, dancing professionally since 13. I'm 31 now. And so it's, I mean, it's been a driving force of my artwork. But I will say, you know, I love dance, but I was looking for something that can also be related to dance, but not necessarily me having to perform a lot. Because I was just getting tired of it. And I know a lot of it's not sustainable. I mean, you know, people will argue that it is, but for me, it just wasn't sustainable to keep performing like I was. And so film happened to be that place where I could really learn skills and also show off my skills, my editing skills that I didn't know I had. Yeah.
Yeah, just trial by fire, just go straight into it, right? That works. I'm just looking at my questions here. So, I mean, I want to know, and I'm sure a lot of other people will want to know, is there a place we can see all of 4 installments?
Well, right now I don't have them up because they're doing their film circuit.
Okay.
But
maybe someday.
Mostly where you can access is through Vimeo.
Okay.
Kiana Harris.
Mm-hmm.
My first 2 films are on there, Divine and then Divine Part 1. But again, they're part of their film circuit right now, so I'm not sure when I'll be able to just like put them up and have them available. I will say though, I've been, during this quarantine process, I've been getting into virtual reality, VR. And so I have a VR headset. VR is just pretty much when you immerse yourself into another world. And so I'm in the process of creating a world for my films, pretty much an archive where people can access my films. And I have to figure out how to do it in a way of like 2D and 3D, so people can also access them on their PC or Mac or through their headsets. But yeah, that's just a goal of mine. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but eventually it's something I would like to have.
That's really cool, and I think being able to experience that in a 3D world would be mind-blowing. I think that would be really cool. That's a great idea. Well, we'll definitely keep checking your Vimeo. You know, if you're able to post more things, we'll keep up with that. Obviously, the storytelling in these films is super powerful, and the messaging that you're bringing out and trying to inspire in people is, like I said, very powerful. And I'm curious, you know, what impact do you want these films to have, and what do you want folks to take away from viewing it?
Sure. I mean, in terms of the impact, it's how people feel, their own feelings. And to me, that's enough. It's like, you know, people come to me after the screenings and they're just like, I felt this. I don't have any I'm an atheist, and watching your film just like made me feel some sort of spirituality. And I'm just like, cool. If that's what you take from it, go ahead and take from it. That's not me to take away at all. However, my films it's about gender. It's about dismantling this rigid gender binary that dominates our society in these times. My film is for Black folks. I mean, that's who I really made it for. But anybody can watch it. There's so many people that get so many things from the film. And like I said, that's for them to take away from.
Yeah, it's definitely an individual experience when you watch something like that. I mean, with any film really, but for this, with the just experience of it and aesthetic and everything that you can take from it, I can see it being impacting everyone in any sort of way, which is, I mean, that's why you make films, right? And so yeah, I can't wait for our audience to see this, and to hopefully listen to this conversation and look you up and then stay up to date with everything that you're doing. Are you planning, I know you're thinking about this VR world and archive thing. Are you thinking about making more films in the future?
Yeah, I would like to, trying to anticipate what's happening during our times. You know, as of now, it seems like people aren't really able to shoot films like they can, like a practical shoot. And so what I'm thinking about is how I can incorporate it in VR. How can I create different worlds through my films? And that's pretty much what I'm leading with. In terms of like doing it in real life, I'm not sure when that will happen, but learning how to edit, learning how to create worlds in 2D and 3D is what I'm looking forward to in the future, so everybody can access it.
Yeah, I think one thing that's come out of, everyone being quarantined and isolated is finding these new ways to connect and to interact. And so, and, creative folks like yourself finding new ways to still be creative and have that outlet so you can, create your work. So the film world is always evolving, and we're just going to see where it goes. But I think the VR thing sounds really interesting, and we at Destiny City really want to get into that in the future too, because it's becoming a lot more popular. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I wanted to remind folks, Kiana's short film is in the shorts program called The Stories We Tell, which is a collection of shorts with uniquely personal stories from all over the world. And it helps, we encourage folks to watch those to connect with stories that are different than their own. And so don't miss it if you haven't already seen it. And stay up to date with Kiana at her Vimeo. And is there anything else you want to share, Kiana, about the film or anything else?
I would just say enjoy and take what you take from it.
Awesome. Again, thank you very, very much, Kiana, for sharing your film with us, the powerful storytelling you created. And thank you again for spending some time to talk about it. We look forward to hopefully working with you again in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate it.